では簡単にではありますが、エノ・シュミットさんについてご紹介差し上げたいと思います。シュミットさんは、ベーシックインカム導入の是非を問うスイスの国民投票を通して世界中にベーシックインカムの概念を広めた立役者のお一人です。シュミットさんもともとアーティストでいらっしゃって、こちらがいろんなアートパフォーマンスをなさっているんですけれども、その一つがこちらですね。スイス国会議事堂の前に、金貨を800万枚敷き詰めるというパフォーマンスです。そのお金と遊ぶ戯れるっていう映像が世界中に発信されて、何これっていうことで、そこで一気に、ベーシックインカムのアイデアが広まりました。それからこちらですね、広場にいっぱいのギネスレコードのポスター、こういった映像が世界中にニュースとして発信されることで、何々これっていうことで、またどんどんベーシックインカムの認知度が広まっていきました。この、ポスターには、生活費が保証されたらあなたは何をしますかというふうに書いてあります。それからこちらがセントラルステーションの戴冠式、真ん中がシュミットさんなんですけれども、これは金色の紙で作った王冠を道行く人にかぶせていくっていうパフォーマンスなんですけれども、これはつまり自分の王は自分であると、自己決定権はあなた自身が持たなければならないっていう、実はものすごく強烈なメッセージが、メッセージ性を持ったアートパフォーマンスになります。それでは、シュミットさんにお願いしたいと思います。Okay. Mr. Schmidt, please.
Thank you for your warm welcome.
本日は皆様お集まりくださいましてありがとうございます。
So I guess you were wondering what I will tell you.But I'm wondering what you like to hear, to listen, to get to know.
皆さん、私がどんな話をするかとても興味いっぱいだと思います。
So therefore my first question to you is, who is familiar with the idea of an unconditional basic income? Ooh. Okay, so is it right, for the most of you, this is new thing you don't know so much about, is it right? Okay. You saw these images of some performances we made in Switzerland. The idea of an unconditional income, high enough to live from in a modest but decent way, is not very new. It's an old idea. And it's not an idea of Switzerland. It's more an idea of the Enlightenment, so the time of 1700 anything, but some people say it's much more old. And I think it's also an idea of Okinawa. So in the past, the family structure, or the big families, the tribes, they take care of each other. They take care that nobody will die by hunger. There was a social, warm field. Then the money came, and with the money and with employment and working for money, those social structures decreased and are destroyed. So the idea that we take care of each other and that everybody has a right to live is not so new. I think it's an idea that lives in everybody. And we also have something like human rights. So human rights are globally, and human rights mean these are rights for humans that is unshareable, that is in either case a right of every individual. And the first and most important human right is the right to live. And the right to live in our society, in our monetarized society, the right to live is an income. An income gives you the right to live. So without an income, you cannot survive. You cannot survive without an income because you don't take care for yourself. we are no longer self-supplied. We work for each other, and we need that all the others are working for us. And to exchange this, we need money and we need an income. So in the very past, money was not so important. And in the past, families and tribes worked for themselves. But today we are all working for each other. And finally, globally, we are in a work-sharing world, working for each other. This is caused by the technical progress. And we will have even more technical progress in the next years. When we have such technical progress, we also need social progress. So, when nobody can survive by themselves, when everybody needs the work of others to live, to survive, then we can rethink about the basic income, that an income is a right to live. So we are no longer living in scarcity. There is no scarcity. We have more than we can use, we have more than we can eat, more than we can dress. We have more of everything we need. There's no scarcity. And this is very different from the past. In the past, there has been scarcity, and every hand was needed to get what we need for life. But today, and even more in the future, less and less hands and people are needed to produce all what we need of goods and products and services. An unconditional basic income means to give everybody in the society, in Okinawa or maybe also in Japan, so everybody in the whole of Japan, every individual, an income high enough to live from in a modest but decent, dignified way. This basic income, unconditional, is regardless whether you are young or old. It can be lower for infants, for children, paid out to the parents, paid to the parents, so the basic income for the children is given to the parents, not directly to the children. It is regardless whether you are rich or poor. So it's not a social security benefit. It's not only for some people in the society, it is for everybody. It is regardless whether you are employed or unemployed, male or female. There are no strings attached. So maybe now you will ask yourself, wow, but who will pay for it? And will the people work further on with such an income? But the first step to get the idea is to try to imagine what this would mean for you yourself. If there is an amount of, let's say, 150,000 yen a month, each month, lifelong, and this is unconditional. This income is in your pocket every month, regardless what you are doing. What does it mean for you yourself? Some people will say, oh, you know, I don't need it. I earn enough money, I don't need such income. But imagine again, this is a new kind of income. This is unconditional, given to you. And how can I give an income high enough to live from in a modest way, so it's not for luxury, it's low? How can I give this unconditional, for example, to Dogoji-san? How can I give or be in favor and give an unconditional income to those I really don't like? So how can I agree that everybody gets such an unconditional basic income, also those neighbors that I hate? You know, for me and my best friends, maybe this is okay in unconditional basic income, but not for those I really don't like. You know what I want to say is, it is easy to say, me and me, we get an unconditional basic income, but not you and you and you and you, because I don't know you and I don't like you. So when you think about this unconditional, given to everybody, you will feel and realize by yourself that this is not so much a question about money. This is a question of the society and if we appreciate each other. Because you can give an unconditional thing, for example, unconditional love, unconditional friendship, or an unconditional basic income that gives you a living. You can give this only if you appreciate the other as a being and not as a performance, not as something that benefits yourself. It is really a social bridge. Usually we say, first you have to perform, you have to show that you do something working for others, and when you perform and when you are a function in the society, then you get the right to live by an income. We are talking of work ethics, and I heard that also in Japan there is a sentence, who do not want to work should not eat. So in our understanding, an income always is bounded and related strictly to some work. And this is the difference that an unconditional basic income, the idea of an unconditional basic income, so it's just a basis, that this shakes our fixed opinions. And this idea of an unconditional basic income forces us to rethink what we think a human being is. So by that reason, I call it a cultural impulse. So, we have no lack of money. There's not too little money in the world, there's too much money in the world. So, there's not too little money in the world, there's too much money in the world. We have money more than we need. So maybe not in your hand, but in the world. There are more products, goods and services in the world than we can consume. So we have no financial crises or economic crises, but we have a crisis of culture and a crisis of humanity. We have a crisis of social visions of the society of the future that is created by us ourselves and not just by circumstances. So now imagine again, what would it be for you, what does it mean for you, if there would be in Japan such an unconditional basic income? And to which people are you thinking when you imagine a basic income? For whom would it be good? So what I want to show in the beginning, to make obvious and to be understood, is an unconditional basic income is much more than any theory or money or help for the poor people. It is a push, it is an opportunity for everybody and the whole of the society to rethink what is the truth of today and what society is it what we want to live in. So now you can imagine what would happen if there is such an unconditional basic income in Okinawa, for example, for the elderly people, for the old people. What would happen? What would happen is there would be more people that like to help, to give a help to old people, to take care for old people. More people would like to give a help to old people, spend time with older people, so that there would be much more care for old people, because people have more time and people want to help. And an unconditional basic income sets you free to do what you think is necessary. Imagine what will happen in education. Today, parents are afraid that their children will not get a good paid job. And because children has to be trained to get a good paid job, the school, the teachers, everybody is thinking this is education to train children for a job market. But those jobs for whom you can be educated will not be there in the future. And it don't strengthen the children when they are trained to fit in a box. This stress, for so many people, this stress creates many diseases, illness, and doesn't make happy. So imagine again what will happen if there is an unconditional basic income for each individual. That would give the schools, the universities, the teachers the opportunity to be more interested by the pupils what they want to do and what is interesting for them. So education can become joy and much more powerful. Or for example, imagine the situation in Okinawa, the political situation. Maybe with the American base, maybe with more democracy, whatever. The political situation or any other things that has to be changed or things that are important for you in a political way. So again, just imagine there's a basic income. Then people would have time to act for a change, to build groups, to think about, to become active in the political. And those who are always busy, those have no future. Because you need time to reflect and to change yourself and to develop yourself. And sometimes it needs breaks in your life. Maybe this is very uncomfortable, but it often needs breaks to come to a new level. Breaks like divorce, breaks like anything, what is happening in your life, a disease, or somebody is dying. You need time to think about. So breaks are important in life. Today, you will fall out of the society with such breaks. An unconditional basic income gives you a floor, and nobody is asking you why you need some time for yourself. Maybe there's trouble in a relationship. Maybe you have to overcome a trauma. Maybe you have to heal out a disease. These are only a very few examples. There are many, many more things, and you can think about by yourself. There are many things you can think about by yourself. What will be the impact of an unconditional basic income? I will tell you just one more example from the United States, from the pilot project that happened in the United States in 1972. One impact of the basic income, unconditional basic income, was that some women decided to don't stay longer on with that drunken husband. So there's more independency for everybody, and in that example there were more divorces. But pilot projects that took place also made the evidence there's more education. So young people wanted to stay longer in school, to have a higher degree, to get a better job. More education is one result of an unconditional basic income in the pilot projects. The first point is not that we have to discuss very serious the financing and all that stuff. The first point is to think about, to have a little bit time to come close to the idea and to ask yourself if that would be good. And if you think, well, that could be good, you can think further on and you can start to walk in the direction of an unconditional basic income. And we can learn on the way, by each conversation. We can learn in the progress and process in which we approach more and more over years and years to such an unconditional basic income. So it is feasible, we can do it. The only one question is if we want it. And now again, that there's no misunderstanding. It is just the basic income. By your work, paid work, labor, you will earn your money, like today. There will be people that become rich and others are more or less not rich or like poor. There are differences in the society like today, and performance is asked like today. So the difference is not that everybody becomes lazy. Everybody, so like today, jobs are paid. Some people earn a lot of money, become very rich. Some people don't. Some people do things without payment. So it is not so different to today. And in a free market, like Japan is, it will happen that wages and salaries are renegotiated, and wages and salaries probably will decrease because the basic income is already paid off unconditionally. So social programs, social security benefits, pensions, all that stuff will be no longer needed in the height of the basic income. So this is the answer of how it is to finance. Because it is already financed. Because you all, everybody of you, have already a basic income, but not unconditional. But not unconditional. You, everybody of you, for example here, you have already a basic income. But yeah, now, today, yeah, because otherwise you will be dead. Let me lead that way. Today, now, everybody of you already have a basic income. And if there's somebody who doesn't have it, he couldn't be here because he would be dead. And a basic income is financed today. It is already financed. Because all of you have a basic income. I hope the most of you have much more than a basic income. I hope the most of you will have much more than just a basic income today. But at least everybody has a basic income. At least a basic income everybody already today has. That's the reason why I say it is already today financed. The basic income is already financed. But the basic income is not unconditional given. It is not unconditional. There are strings attached. So this will make the difference. If the basic income, what everybody inevitable needs to live, will be given each other unconditional. That means don't be afraid that this would be too expensive. Don't be afraid that this is not to be financed. You can be absolutely safe that you can think about an unconditional basic income in your way. You can be safe, because there is nothing that is against. You can be safe, you can be sure, you can be certain that you are allowed to think about an unconditional basic income. What I want to say is, mostly people think, yeah, that's a nice idea, but it's much too expensive. We never can afford it. And I would like to explain, you know, it is already financed. Don't be afraid. The money is not the problem. You can think about in your heart, in your soul, you may, because this is in your hand. And if you want a basic income, it will come. It is not a question of money. An unconditional basic income does not mean that people stop working. So an unconditional basic income is not against work or labor. It is just that we appreciate each other and give each other the right to live without strings attached. People are much more able to work meaningful things. You can say no to a bad job offer. You can say no to a bad work condition or workplace. This is an incentive for the entrepreneurs to be more kind, to be more fair, and to create better work conditions. No, this is an incentive for the entrepreneurs, company leaders, to create, to be more lovely. And today, it's always said people need an incentive to work, and that is an income, and that is that the people will come in existential crisis if they don't work. People say that, so it's said, people need an incentive to work, and that is the money, and that is to blackmail the people, to force the people to work. But this saying means that you do not appreciate your fellow Japanese. With an unconditional basic income, it is vice versa. So this is an incentive for all the powerful to be more kind and to do better things. Imagine what will happen at your working place when you have an unconditional basic income and all your colleagues have the same, and also the entrepreneur has the same. What will change? I think what will change is that there is much more cooperation on the same eye level. So of course there are thousands of things that could be said now about an unconditional basic income, but time is over. I would like to translate that there are, so of course there are thousands of things that I can say about basic income more than, but now the time is over. What I wanted to say, and what I want to give you in this first moment, in this first listening to the idea, what I wanted to give to you is to encourage you that you are allowed to think about the idea of an unconditional basic income. It is possible to do it, it is feasible, it depends only on if you want it. And then it is like walking step by step, and when you work further on, you will see more about the basic income and more about. So you don't need to know everything in the first moment. It is like walking through the landscape to the nature. You will see more and more by walking. ありがとうございます。